The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks a million for joining us. My name is Donal O'Neill. I'm the head of marketing for Clonwilliam Health, and with me, as usual, I have Ronan Leonard, who is our support team lead for HPM. The topic of today's webinar is the Healthmail Rx functionality, which is currently being deployed and should be in your system now. As usual, I'm going to hand it over to Ronan now shortly, and he'll run through a demo of the functionality and how it's handled, and then we will take any questions that you have at the end. If you look on the right hand side of your screen, there should be a toolbar for the webinar, and in there's a tab that says questions. If you type the question in there, it'll come straight through to me and I can ask Ronan the question at the end. So please do shout with any questions that you have, and we'll try our best to answer them, and I will pass it over to Ronan now to get things started. So that should be on.
Great, thanks a million.
Yeah.
Thanks a million, Donal. Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, so this is just a webinar just to show a piece of new software functionality in HPM just in relation to sending prescription via Healthmail and a couple of other bits as well. So the first thing to do is we'll just get a bit of housekeeping out of the way. The version that you should have is either 3.6.6.0 or 3.6.6.1. The way to check that is just go into Help and then About, and you'll have your version number down here. If it's not either of those version numbers, just give us a call and we'll get you updated. We're still in the process of updating. We've got most, but if you don't have the update, give us a call and we'll get it done for you, okay? The second bit of housekeeping as well is just to show the latest release notes. So if you click on Help, Latest Release Notes, and that will open up here. You'll see the latest release notes here. Now, basically, these release notes are going to cover what I'm going to be doing in the webinar today anyway, but it's just if you wanted to have a read of these afterwards, they're here for you, okay? Okay, so look, we'll just dive straight in. The first thing you need to know is just the requirements just before I start showing it to you. Only doctors can send prescriptions via Healthmail. I'll go into this in a bit more detail later, as there's something there for the admin staff as well. And it also requires the doctor's order practices, Healthmail email address and password. And the third thing it requires, which I'll show you now, is it needs the GPS coordinates of the surgery to be put into practice config. Now, it doesn't actually require this, but it's just good, Donal, insofar as it will show the closest pharmacies first. Yeah. Otherwise, it'll just show a full list. So to add the GPS coordinates, you just go into Administration, Other Settings, and Practice Configuration, and then go into Branch Surgeries. The top surgery, unless you have multiple locations, the top surgery here will be your main surgery. So you just highlight that and click Edit, and the GPS coordinates go in the bottom there, okay? The easiest way to get them, I find now, there's various websites you can go on to get them. I find is I just go onto Google Maps, do a search for wherever your surgery is, kind of zoom in on the surgery a bit until you can get a look at a road, and just right click and select what's here. And if you look down the bottom, you'll see that there's GPS coordinates there. Just write them down. That's the exact format you need to put into practice config. And you just put them in there and click OK. Okay. So once you have those three, you can go ahead. So what we'll do now is we'll just open up a patient's chart. I have a test patient here. And we go into Test Healthmail. And we'll just open up the medication. So when you open up the medication, what we'll do is you can either add a new one or you can reissue whatever you choose. So for the purposes of this, we'll just reissue. Highlight that. I'm going to X out of this for a minute. We'll come back to that in a second. So there's your three medications. You can edit, change, add more here, all as normal. We've changed nothing on this screen. It's the exact same as it always was. There's just two new areas here. There's a button here called Healthmail Rx, and then there's an area here for selecting the pharmacy. Okay. So when you click Healthmail Rx, the first time you do this for a patient, you get a pop-up. So I'm just going to click on it here. It'll take a second to pop up now. We'll just give it a minute. And as you can see, it's going to bring up a list of pharmacies, and it will be the closest pharmacy first to the location I have set. Okay. So yeah, ask the patient what pharmacy they would prefer the medication or the prescription to be sent to, and then just select the pharmacy. Just for the purposes of this, I'm going to actually put it in a test pharmacy. You can also do a search as well. So if I clear that out, it will show the closest. But if you can't find what you're looking for, you can do a search as well. So I'm just going to send this to a test pharmacy. Click OK. And once I do that, it's gone. But just to note, the very first time a doctor does this, after they've selected the pharmacy, they're going to get this pop-up. The reason for this is the system needs to know what Healthmail email address to send this prescription from. So once the doctor puts this in once, it'll be saved against the user file, and they won't have to do it again unless they reset their Healthmail password in their Healthmail account, in which case they'll get this pop-up again. So we didn't get it on the demo there, Donald, because obviously I have mine set up already. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So once that's sent, that's done. What you can do is that's gone to the pharmacy now. So on these medications, you can highlight any one of them, and there's a button here called Healthmail Audit. And you can click on that, and it will tell you data was sent, the pharmacy it's gone to, the email it was sent from, or the email it was sent to, sorry, the prescriber that sent it, and who sent it. And you can select that for any of them. You can also, the doctor, if they want to, they can also open up their Healthmail account as well, which is really good. They open up their Outlook Healthmail account, and if they go into their sent items, the prescription will be there as well, just to sort of reassure them, which is good, I think. Now going forward, if I reissue here again, going forward for this patient and any patient, it will always remember the last pharmacy you sent the prescription to. So it's very simple. If you want to change it, just be aware that to always ask sort of the patient where they want this sent to, because they might have a different preference the next time. Just click the red X, that will clear it. And when you hit Healthmail Rx, it will pop up with the map again. But if you don't, if you highlight these and just hit reissue and hit Healthmail Rx, you can see how quickly it's gone. That'll just close down now in 2 seconds, and that's sent, that's gone to the pharmacy. Also to note as well, because these prescriptions have been issued and they've been sent to the pharmacy, they will go into printed scripts in here as normal, as if they've been printed.
Okay.
Okay. Last thing just on this as well, if you've eScript enabled as well, just to note that if you send it via Healthmail and you've eScript enabled, it will send the email prescription to the pharmacy via Healthmail, and it will send the e-notification via eScript also. Okay, so I think that's pretty much everything from the doctor side covered. The second piece of functionality we've added here is called prescription refills. So if we go into tasks, this is for non-clinical users who will not have access to the Healthmail button in the prescribing section. We've added this. It means that you can record calls in the system. If patients call in looking to get their prescriptions done, you can record these as and when they can come in, and then doctors can action them. It'll save a good bit of time. So the first thing we do is we go into tasks and we go to create refill. And what it'll do is, the first thing is, if you have a patient open, it will bring up that patient by default. You can either, if that's the patient you want to use, that's fine. If not, you just click on the search button as normal, and that'll open up the normal patient search screen. It would automatically populate with the patient's registered healthcare provider in the demographics. It will assign it to that doctor. You can change that if you want. You can change it to another doctor. You can select a repeat count. I would always recommend selecting a repeat count based on what's in the prescription screen there already. It will bring back the nominated pharmacy that's assigned to that patient already. But again, you can click on that and you will get the same mapped screen. It should load up now any minute. And you can select it and you can change it if you want.
And I think
you can add.
Go ahead. It's probably important to just emphasize the importance of checking with the patient that the pharmacy they've chosen is still the pharmacy that you want to go.
And that's why I was sort of saying that as well. In the previous screen, I actually got a call yesterday where they had said that it's wrong, just because they're probably not used to it being. Exactly. It's very, very straightforward, you know. So just to be aware that it remembers as much as it can to save clicks. So just to be aware to reiterate with the patient, where do you want this to go, and remember to change if they change their mind, you know. And you can add in any notes here you want. So we have this piece done. So then, depending on what the patient says to you, if they want to refill everything, if they want to get everything reissued, you tick everything. If they want some things reissued, you tick whatever the patient requests. So just in this instance, I'm going to just tick 1, 2, 3. This screen here will load up all their active medications, be it long-term or acute. It will just load up the medication screen and you tick whatever is needed. and you click OK. And that's the refill done. Okay, so once you have this done, then the doctor can access the request by going into tasks and refill list. Now, they can do this whenever they have the time. Obviously, there might be a lot of time where they'll go and manage these. And as you can see, the first thing is you can filter by healthcare provider. So the doctor can select his or her name, and then they will appear along the left-hand side like this. So if I click on this one, you'll see it loads up the medication screen with the 3 medications highlighted. And it's just as simple as clicking reissue, and you'll get the exact same pop-up that you get in the medication screen, and click Healthmail Rx, and off it goes to the pharmacy. Now, if the doctor takes a look at this and they want to change something, they can take a medication off. This just has the medications highlighted. So you can do whatever's there, or you can unhighlight one, you can select one, you can select 2. You can do everything you can do on the normal medication screen before sending it off to Healthmail. Or if you want to remove the request for whatever reason, you can just highlight the refill request and hit the delete key on your keyboard and click yes. And that's gone from there. So that's it on both of them. I just want to make sure we have everything covered. I think I've covered everything on both of them. The last thing I wanted to just show you very quickly is the template that this uses. So if we go into administration and templates, and we just go into it's called Healthmail prescription. And I just want to show you very quickly, this prescription has, or this template has absolutely everything that the pharmacy require on it. Mm-hmm. Development got their guidelines, I think, from the requisite authorities. So everything is there. So it has the practice name, practice address, patient name, address, GMS number if applicable, the date, and the prescription. It'll bring in all the medications and the directions and dosages and stuff like that. That can be edited. If you have, for example, more than one location, if I go into administration, other settings, and practice configuration, if you have more than one location, you can actually create a second prescription for a different location. If they have a different name for say a different surgery name, you can actually create another template. You'll have the different GPS coordinates here. You create a second template, and you can assign that to the machines that are in that location, and we can help you out with that. If you just give us a call, there's no problem. So Donald, I think that's pretty much everything. I think I've covered everything. So do you want to just see if there's any questions? And in the meantime, I'll have a look and make sure everything is covered.
Yeah, no problem. No questions in as of yet. If you do have a question, just click on the question tab on the right-hand side of your screen and pop it in there, and we can answer it. I think, look, Ron, that was a very comprehensive demo. I suppose one thing, I think you touched on it all right, but in terms of, I suppose, the audit functionality and just using that to sense check kind of the refill requests or anything like that, maybe just do another run through of it. So say, for example, if you weren't sure that a prescription had gone, or, you know, how do you double check it?
Yeah, so like I said earlier, it's very, very quick, and there might be an instance where you're kind of like, did that actually go, you know? So what you do is you just go into the medication screen, and you should see the medication or the prescription that you've just done. You just highlight any one of the options and click on Healthmail Audit. Now, if that hasn't been sent, nothing will appear here at all. There'll just be no information. If it has, it will give a sent date, the pharmacy it's been sent to, and all the other information there that you need. And as well as that, if even they were a bit worried about not trusting that, but just wanted to double check, Donald, if they open up their Healthmail email in Outlook, completely independent of the software, if it's been sent, that email should be in their sent items folder. And that way they know it's actually gone, you know. And the pharmacies, I think the pharmacies tend to get back to them very quick to say it's here, you know. So I think it's pretty good in that respect, you know. Regarding the refill requests, once it's added, once an admin person has added a refill request, there's nothing stopping them going in and checking. You know, they can just go in and check and make sure that what they've added is there for the doctor that they've added it for, you know. And again, there's nothing stopping them, Donald, if they made a mistake or if they added it wrong, they can go into refill lists, highlight the refill request, and just hit the delete key on their keyboard,
Sure.
and it will ask them, are they sure? And then it will delete it then,
Sure. And we've had a couple of questions come in from Debbie, so I'll just run through them quickly.
Yep.
First, does it print the doctor's name? She's getting asked by pharmacies for the doctor's name, and it's only the IMC number coming up at the moment. So I think that might be down to the template, is it?
Let me just have a look and see. I don't think the doctor's name is on the requirement list, but I'll double check that.
Okay.
Like they would have put. 1 second now. I'll just open it up and have a look and see what's in the. Bear with me while this opens up.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, dispensing doctor should be down the bottom, system medication prescription, clinician name,
Okay.
and clinician medical council number. So it is there on the template.
Yeah.
So it should be populating. Maybe the
Okay.
pharmacies aren't seeing it. It might be down the bottom of the email or something.
Possibly.
But if you just tell Debbie to give us a call, we can take a look this far. But it should be there.
Yeah. Okay. Great. And then just a couple of more questions around, I suppose, who has access to what part of this functionality. So, correct me if I'm wrong here. My understanding is that the GP login as the prescriber has access to the normal prescriptions completely, and that sits with the GP. Then, in terms of refill prescriptions, the receptionist or practice manager can create them, but the GP has to actually send them off as the prescriber.
Yes.
So the practice manager or secretary can take a call from the patient, prepare the refill, and then push it to the GP for their review
Exactly.
and approval. That's how it works?
That's it exactly. Just to narrow the focus, basically, it comes down to one button. This button here. Non-doctors will not have this button.
Okay, that's good to know.
That's it. They won't have this button. This button is for people who have the doctor role only.
Okay. And I suppose, look, the reason that it is like that is again in consultation with GPs and with the HSE as well. It sort of has to be the prescriber who is actually sending these, because that's the act of the prescription. Same way that they would have signed the paper-based prescription or the paper prescription.
Exactly.
This is effectively their digital signature.
Really. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Under the emergency legislation that was brought in, this was how they can replicate, I suppose, the signature that would be on the hard copy prescription, and that was the decision that was made.
Yeah, but we do understand that obviously the admin staff help out a lot in this regard, which is why the create refill and the refill list was added for them, with them in mind, so that they'll be able to do. It'll save a hell of a lot of work for them in any case,
Exactly. Yeah, and I think, look, the whole goal of this is to try and make the prescription process as simple as possible. So we did try to build it with you guys in mind and how you use it in mind. So that's why the refill is sort of sitting with the practice manager or secretary or whoever at the moment. Yeah, great. So one more question in the additional notes. Is that a note for the GP, or does that note go to the pharmacy with the prescription?
Do you know, let me just have a look and see. What we'll do is let's just add a refill. We'll check it out. I think it might go actually to the pharmacy.
So that might be something like patient will be in at 4 o'clock to collect, or something along those lines, or.
It could be. Now I'm not 100% sure, to be honest. Let's just see what appears here on the notes. If there's any notes here. And let me just check. There's no notes there showing. Donald, can you get me the name of that practice, and I'll call them. I'll verify that with Elaine and Teston, just to be doubly sure. I would imagine it's a note that goes to the pharmacy, but I just want to confirm.
Yeah, no problem at all. I can send you on. It was Rachel Byrne. I'll send you on her details later.
Great. Perfect.
And look, we've had no more questions, so I think that means you've done a very good job, Ron. Look, thanks as always for that. But and again, as always, I will send out an email just with a link to this webinar if you want to go and watch it, or we'll also have the quick guide up on the latest release notes page that Ronan showed earlier. So there's a lot of information out there about how to use it. It is fairly straightforward once you've done a few of them. But if you have any questions at all, as always, just give us a call and we'll be happy to get you up and running on it.
Yeah.
Great. So look, we'll leave it there. Thanks everyone for joining, and particular thanks to Ronan for a great demo.
No problem at all. No problem.
Great. And look, hopefully you find this functionality beneficial. Initial feedback that we've gotten has been really, really positive. So again, hopefully it just makes your work life that little bit easier, and you'll be using it to its full extent as quickly as possible. Thanks very much, everybody.
Thanks a million. Bye.
Cheers. Bye-bye.